Colleagues, our country is at a crossroads. As a nation, we can decide to give our public school teachers the resources they need, or we can continue to provide additional advantages to private schools that are already overfunded. As a nation, we can save our public TAFE system that has trained and educated millions of Australians, or we can continue to reduce apprenticeships and give taxpayer funding to dodgy for-profit providers. As a nation, we can decide to improve the learning outcomes for millions of Australian children into the future, or we can continue to privilege a minority of already fortunate students. It is a simple moral choice: some children or all children. Last week's budget by the Morrison Coalition Government would have come as no shock to Federation members. This budget left 99% of our public schools underfunded, but will see 99% of private schools resourced above the funding they need. This budget offered nothing to help restore and rebuild our vibrant TAFE system. But can this come as any surprise? It was as Treasurer that Scott Morrison delivered a budget that resulted in a $14 billion funding cut for public schools in 2017. It was as Treasurer that Scott Morrison handed down a budget that cut $270 million from apprenticeships in 2018. The evidence is clear. The Morrison government is refusing to support public school and TAFE teachers in the work that we do. It is clear the rules for working people are broken. It is clear we need to change the rules and change the government. Our children, our students need us to defend public education. Thankfully, there are many reasons to be hopeful. Our two national campaigns, Fair Funding Now and Stop TAFE Cuts, have reached millions of Australians. Because of your campaigning, the public has listened. And because of your campaigning, some of the politicians have answered the call. The Federal ALP have committed to restoring the $14 billion lost to public schools and will guarantee that at least 2/3 of public funding will go to TAFE. The Federal Greens have also made this commitment. So the question we need to ask ourselves is this: some children or all children? The Morrison government's answer is obvious: some children. As public educators, the answer for us will always be all children. Here's what you can do right now to advance public education. In your workplace meeting, call on the government to fully fund public education by discussing and voting on the proposed resolution. Make sure you and your colleagues are signed up to both the Fair Funding Now and Stop TAFE Cuts campaigns. Head to fairfundingnow.org.au and stoptafecuts.com.au. Talk to family and friends about why we need a fair go for public schools and TAFE. When it comes to public education, this is a federal government that has no sense of a fair go. It is time for it to go.